Call this meeting, West Burlington City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Christie.
Here.
Crowner.
Here.
Heitmeyer.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Waterman.
Here. Need to perfect and approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Crowner.
Aye.
Heitmeyer.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Carried. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve with the claim amended as we discussed with Leslie.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Approve agenda items 1 through 5, which are the minutes from the regular city council meeting on December 2nd, 2020. Payment to Bauer Build, payment to Dorsey and Whitney, payment to Municipal Supply, and the claims list is presented in the amount of $173,999.55. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heitmeyer.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Staff report. Stan.
About the only thing I have is, I'm in the process of writing that, grant for the Gear Avenue Trail extension. I've got probably several more days of writing on that to do, so that's what I'm doing in the near future.
Do I have anything for Dan? Mike?
I just wanted to pass on the south lift's going good. The new box is in. They've already poured the footings and the walls up for the shed where all the controls go in, and putting all the plumbing back together. They're moving right along good. I think they're moving up later this week to put the air reliefs in and tie the manholes in on the line they already buried, so it's moving along really good. That's all I have.
Do I have anything for Mike?
I've had a lot of feedback on the sidewalks out there on Houston. People just loving having that, especially there was that one that the entrance was really ramped there. It was really hard to get up, and I've had quite a few people mention that that's much nicer the way it is.
Yeah, I had to walk through there with Matt the other day. There's some dirt work. We're gonna have him touch up some things and clean up some rock and stuff that are laid around there yet, but I'm not sure when they're gonna do that to finish that project out yet.
Mike, I'm going down Swan Street when you go into the beginning of the 400 block of Swan Street off of Houston. You got a bump there on that side where the stop sign is at. Can you grind that? It's
On
getting bigger.
Swan?
Yep, right on the corner of Houston and Swan on the south side.
Yeah, I can check into it, see what it is. We can try and
That
grind
would
it. Is
probably
it,
better check it before it gets worse,
okay.
whatever it is.
Okay.
I didn't see any body parts, so that's good.
Okay. Jess?
Got a few things. First thing is, I checked, and we do have 15 cameras registered. We're 15 residents registered for the cameras for us so far. So, again, we're putting it out there. If you have a camera system that you would like to register with the city for us, that would be excellent. Unit 7 is a new Dodge Durango. It should be on the road here the next few days. It just got striped today by Sherwoods. It's different than what we have out there now. I plan on switching all the units as they come along to the new striping system that I have. I've had a lot of positive feedback on that. And then the last thing is I made you all aware of the incident that we had in the 200 block of Ballard Street last week. I sent out an email. I will be going to Ankeny tomorrow to drop that off, but we had let's see here, seven total weapons we got out of that house. Total of 29 charges between the 3 individuals that resided in that residence. We ended up getting about 38 grams of marijuana and 2.6 grams of crack cocaine out of that house. So pretty substantial amount of drugs and guns that we were dealing with that night. So we had several complaints about hearing gunshots that night, and luckily Officer Schluter was in the area when it happened, so he was able to respond very quickly and got that situation under control.
Jesse, thank you very much, and thank your officers.
Yep.
Thanks for keeping us safe.
Yep, we're trying.
Was that under investigation, suspicion, or not until the gunshot?
Suspicion. We knew what was going on, just trying to get the work done to get into it, and that's what, hopefully with getting Officer Covert back, Latron Covert back in June, and if we keep our staffing level with him, hopefully I'll get somebody back in that task force, and that will just help us out a lot more out here with keeping track on houses and drugs and all that. It just hasn't worked out that well the past 3 years, that when we lost Latron to the being activated for and we just lost that personnel in the task force, and just trying to do all the investigations ourselves. It just, with all the other work that we have, we just don't have time to get all that with the patrol officers.
And then one last thing for me, do you have a recommendation for a camera? Is there any particular security camera that you think is better than another?
I would have to talk to Brad about that. I know there's different programs out there, and you would just have to investigate a little bit on your own and see what you can, what you could come up with. I'm not that tech savvy to recommend one over the other. I just know that anything helps. Trying to get, descriptions of vehicles or whatever may happen in that neighborhood or suspects, so.
I'd suggest maybe a push after Christmas. A lot of people will be getting Ring doorbells and those kind of things for Christmas, so
Yep.
probably a good idea to spread that out again afterwards.
We can do that.
Anything else for Jess? I do want to commend Cody for the job that he did the other night, and anybody else that was helping him.
Luckily, we had 4 guys working that night when that happened, so, but he definitely put a lot of man hours into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Sean?
Not often you see me bring notes up. We had 911 board meeting tonight, and we discussed setting our budget hearing for the upcoming next year. That'll probably be sometime in January or February that we'll be doing that. And then we'll also be doing an election of officers. We haven't done that in a couple years, so there'll be an election of officers of the current board members. On the building side, Menards is going to be pouring cement here real soon. That big open door, or what looks like an overhead door area, that's open because they're driving equipment back and forth in and out. Just like last time, when the other Menards went up, they left that open so they could bring cement trucks in. So, GRMC, I noticed there's some plumbing and groundwork. They're progressing along pretty well, pretty quickly, considering the way the weather is, and the ground getting stickier and harder each day. 321 Ramsey. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that house. That was sold, and another person is in the process of buying it, and they're working on getting that cleaned up. So you may see vehicles or a dumpster there too. As time goes on, it's being cleaned up. And I'm working with the new owner. They've got some ideas, and I'm trying to work through the code to see if I can help them get what they want, work it into their plans, and still meet our code requirements. There will be a Board of Adjustment meeting coming up regarding a fence request and a shed request. And I think we haven't set a hard date on that yet, Kelly, but that's supposed to be sometime after Christmas, try to get it in before the new year, right?
Yeah, I have some publication requirements I have to meet, so.
Yep. So, on the fire side, so far this year, we've hit 640 calls. Usually when asked, I say we have about 600 calls a year. We're at 640 right now for calls this year so far. All the SCBA's, I worked earlier this week changing all the batteries out on them, getting them cleaned up, the regulators and everything, something that has to be done every 2 months. And if you ever wondered how many batteries we go through every 2 months, just the SCBA's alone is 200 batteries. It's actually more economical the option that we have, even though it sounds like a lot of batteries, but it's actually a better option. And then the smaller vehicles, pickups, you may have noticed up at Schluter's here, they were getting their oil changes. Not a lot else going on for fire. We've had a couple fires that we've gone on. Everything, nobody's been put out for Christmas. Knock on wood, we keep that streak going here. Any questions or?
Have anything for Sean? Yeah, thanks. Kelly, you got anything going on?
not tonight.
Leslie?
I guess everybody got the budget scheduled, did the budget schedule, I sent out the email. That's what we're gonna try and do. It might be subject to change a little bit, depending on how it flows, but that's what we're looking to do, starting every Wednesday in January.
Okay. Kathy, you got anything going on?
Well, I just want to repeat for maybe some people that haven't heard that we've started the Neighbor Helping Neighbors program. And so if anyone would like to help by volunteering to do someone in West Burlington's rake their leaves or shovel their snow for them this winter, just let me know. And we're looking for people to help seniors or people that aren't able to do their own work. So let me know, or you can sign up online either way on our website.
Okay. Andy?
Not today, thanks.
Lois? Reese?
Well, I just want to echo condolences to the Hagerly Elliott families and the Wistrom Carpenter families. We lost some stalwart citizens over the last couple of weeks. Lou Carpenter, she was one of our first co-chairs in getting our West Burlington Neighborhood Watch set up. And of course, Margene. Well, everybody knew Margene. She didn't know a stranger at all. I remember she was very patient with us when we'd go up with 5 cents to spend money on candy. She was probably more patient than I would have been. But anyway, I just wish to express our condolences to them.
Long-time residents. Al?
Good.
Okay. Anyone wishing to address the council on matters that are not on the agenda tonight? There's a chance. Okay, we'll go to have a couple of public hearings, and I'll open the first one, which is public hearing on the proposed December 2020 amendment for the West Burlington Urban Renewal Area to add the Mount Pleasant Street Reconstruction Project and the Gear Avenue Improvement Project to the city's urban renewal plan. And this adds Mount Pleasant Street Reconstruction Project is Mount Pleasant Street from and including the intersection with Gear Avenue on the west and continuing east to including corporate city limits. And the Gear Avenue Improvement Project is the Dowell Bar retrofit project. And the description of use of TIF is the project will not exceed $150,000. Did we receive any written comment
No.
from the public? Any verbal comments? Anyone wishing to make a comment? Council wishing to make a comment? I'll close the public hearing. The second public hearing is on plans and specifications, form a contract, and estimated cost regarding the proposed Lewis Park Water Resource Station project. And that is to do stream restoration, install permeable pavers, do some concrete pavement and water main replacement at Lewis Park. And let me bring that up and give you the actual numbers. It's 443 feet of stream restoration, 708 square yards of permeable paver installation, 65 square yards of concrete pavement, 205 square yards of sidewalk, and 701 linear feet of water mains and some other miscellaneous items. and the estimated cost for that is $445,000. Did we receive any written comments?
no.
Anyone wishing to make verbal comments? Council wishing to make comment?
I just had one quick question on this. What do you think the park usage will be like next year, next summer during this? Will this totally make it unusable next year, or will you kind of have that bottom area cordoned off?
Ben can probably answer that.
Requirement in the plans that they're supposed to fence off with orange safety fencing if there's, construction going on anywhere in the area. It's likely that a lot of the park will be down for most of the year, if they're doing the stream restoration on the stream that goes right through the middle of the park. And then, I'm sure a lot of people park on Meadow Street to get access to that, and that's getting permanent damage, so.
Right.
They do have to fence that off, just for public safety. September 30th is when they're gonna be done. So,
Do you think we, as a city, should be looking at getting ahead of that and saying, hey, this is just gonna be closed next summer?
it's, up to you guys. We still haven't, gone out to bid yet, so we don't have a work progress schedule from the contractor or anything yet to know exactly when they'll be doing what items. We could might know more at that point. That would be January, February, sometime in there. Then we could maybe look at, when they'd be closed and what parts of the park would be closed when and that sort of thing.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Close the public hearing. Item number 1, under new business, is to consider a resolution to approve the urban renewal plan amendment for the West Burlington urban renewal area.
Motion to approve?
Support. The motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hightmeyer,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is consider a resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost regarding the proposed Lewis Park Water Resource Restoration Project. I just told you what was gonna happen during the public hearing. I can repeat myself, but.
So move. Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Hightmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is to consider renewal employee wellness program with Great River Health Systems for 2021. And Tara's here to give you an overview and tell you what's happening.
All right, good evening, guys. So I think that you guys have the packet already, so you've been able to hopefully review some of the numbers and whatnot. So I just want to give you a couple of kind of updates that maybe could give you an idea of what happened from 2019 to 2020 that's not necessarily on here. So in 2020, we did have 19 employees that agreed to participate, yet only 12 fully completed the program. However, in 2019, you'll notice that we actually had a little bit less. So that's actually a good thing that we had more this year. And on that first part of the paper, it says where the 12 employees completed the wellness screening. So it says 6 employees passed with 3 or more biometric markers this year. Last year we only had 5, so we had 1 more person actually have better biometrics. 3 improved their biometrics by 10% from the previous year. So the previous year from that, we only had 2. So again, we had another person who did even better on their biometrics. And then 3 this year did not pass their biometrics at all. Well, the previous year we had 2. So it's a good thing that with the health screening that you're actually seeing our biometrics get better. And looking at the screening data from 2017 to 2020, you'll notice that actually everyone is better, even though we've had kind of a crummy year with COVID, right? And looking through the pamphlet, you'll probably notice that participation may not have been fantastic. We had great participation in early part of the year. COVID hit March, right? Things started shutting down. And that's why you'll see like on the walks, March, April, May, those were canceled. And that's partly because, number one, we were closed. Number two, I had to go and do other jobs at the hospital because of that. So unfortunately, those summer months really took a massive hit with participation. And even with preventative exams, only 3 of our employees had an annual exam that was turned in this year. And I think a lot of that, again, had to do with COVID. Too many of our clinics were just not seeing patients. A lot of them were, putting into respiratory care and switching roles of how we dealt with that. So come fall, things started opening back up. And I think that's when we started to see a little bit better participation happening towards these last couple of months. Overall, if you kind of read my summary and for the 2020 program year, I honestly think that even though some of the participation may not be as great, there are other things that happened in our program that you're not seeing. So, we had a lot of participation with physical activity. So there's actually a binder downstairs, if you ever go downstairs in the gym, that they write down when they come in. They're telling me what areas that they're working out. We had really great participation in that. And you'll even notice that through the logs where people are coming in and using that facility, which I think is a fantastic piece for the wellness program. With our officers side, I think they are kind of our shining point at the moment. So from 2019 to 2020, they had some of the best participation. They've had some of the most important improvements because obviously this is very well a performance-based job that they have to do. So keeping fit is incredibly, smart for them and smart for us to keep pushing it, because if they are unfit, we see more injuries occur. We see them having a lack of performance potentially in their job, and of course increased stress, which increases health risks for police officers. So honestly, a wellness program is very beneficial for them. This year we had 5 of our 8 officers complete our fitness testing, which is basically a mirror image of the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy program. And last year we only had 4. So we had another officer that's getting involved with it. And with our new officers that are in the program, we already have basically them saying, yes, I'd like to participate next year if you guys go ahead and offer it. So all of our officers besides 2 will participate in the coming year should you approve it, which is great because we've got several newbies that definitely need to kind of be put on a track for keeping themselves in shape, learning proper nutrition, and just good overall form when they are exercising and doing certain maneuvers. Obviously on the administration side, there was a little bit less of a participation there. Unsure of how that could have been alleviated. There was a lot of communication through email, through text messaging, me just being here and present. However, we do have several administration that are still willing to participate next year. Overall, out of our 12 that did complete the program, you'll notice that they all did a pretty great job. For all of our tier assessments, our number 1 tier, we had 2 police officers actually get the highest level, which is fantastic. And then the next level, we had 2 administration employees. Tier 3, we had 2 officers and 1 administration. And tier 4, we had 1 administration. So more officers earned higher awards compared to the 2019 year, which is fantastic. So moving on to kind of the proposal, should you want to consider doing it again. Basically, we're going to keep very close to a mirror image of what we're doing for the police officers because it's working clearly. For the administration side, I have kind of tweaked a couple of things for them in terms of their independent program, which I think would be a little bit more maybe motivating for them to want to do because it's a little more physical activity based. And I've talked to all of them about, topics and challenges and things that they would definitely think would be a great incentive to do. So we've kind of already built that out, and it's already in your packet so you can see quarter by quarter what they would have and what I'd be coming and talking to them about. But the program cost is actually going to be $110 less compared to the 2020 year, and then even so forth the previous year. So we're keeping our wellness screenings, the wellness walks and group workouts, The quarterly program of the newsletter, the seminar, and the challenge, those will still be in place. The police independent program will be the fitness testing improvement, which they've always been doing, and the administration independent program, which is a little bit different this year. So you can kind of look on the very last page of how it's kind of all broken out of what we're exactly going to be doing. But open to questions if you have them.
Anybody have any comments, questions?
This question is somewhat to you, but also somewhat to the council. My previous position at Weingard, we had mandatory health screenings in order to be on their company insurance.
I am their wellness coordinator.
And the one thing they did, which I thought was nice, was they came out to us one day
Yep.
a year and did it. I don't know if that's an option to have that here with the amount of people that we have.
The wellness screenings? Are you
To
that-
actually come here and do them.
We do.
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Come here.
I was confused by that because you mentioned the people had trouble getting in, seeing doctors this year to get the screenings done, so.
So I do the wellness screenings, but in terms of, and we just literally did them in November.
Okay.
So, because we were definitely more open and whatnot. I think probably, March through July-ish, those were the kind of the hot months where
Sure.
a lot of physicians weren't seeing a lot of patients because a lot of the departments at the hospital were actually shut down. Or the physicians were being moved to, say, the respiratory clinic or something of that nature.
Okay. Well, I am a true believer of what gets measured gets managed. And if we're not even taking a look at that once a year, then I think, the program's probably not doing what I think it should do.
Yep.
So I'd like to find a way to either mandate that or really incentivize that we at least get the health screening done to be on our insurance.
Part of the program is, in order to even earn an incentive, you must have the wellness screening done. So if you do not do the wellness screening, yet maybe you do all the other stuff, you're not even considered for an incentive.
But we're still missing a lot of people, right, on
We
the
are.
wellness screening?
Yes.
Okay. Just my opinion, I think that saves the city money in the long run. I think there is reasons to have that health program, and I understand if people don't want to go out and take the walk with you, but I really think they need to get screened and at least have some idea of one time a year at least of where they're sitting at. So,
Yes, I 100% agree with you. Because, again, many don't go to the doctor. And
Yeah.
I find that with most of my companies that they kind of are coming to me for the healthcare questions that I try and help and answer.
Well, I know from that previous company how much money we saved long-term through that wellness program, and it really is something that needs to happen. So I would be much in favor of this, but I would also like to see more people take advantage of it, especially at least the screening.
The wellness screening.
Is there a way you can make that happen, Dan? I mean, isn't it their discretion
I
to?
don't know about making it mandatory. I only know of one company that did that. I'd have to look into that some more. I know, we can look at some ways to incentivize that, at least to get the wellness screenings done, because I think that's a one-time deal, so that shouldn't be that difficult for people to do, even if they don't want to do any of the other stuff. I don't know if they would know that was an option if they didn't do the rest of the stuff, so I can reiterate that with staff and, let them know, and I'll try to see if there's a better way to incentivize that. It's a little difficult with union contracts, sometimes a company can, do something with the employee share of the health insurance to have it be one price if you're involved and another price if you're not. With our union contract, we really can't do that. I mean, we could lower it from what we're asking, but we couldn't make anybody that doesn't participate pay more than what the contract says. There might be a way to reduce it if council had, wanted to do that. We could lower the employee share of health insurance if you participate. That might get some people to do it. We're already paying money on it. We're paying money out if you participate at certain levels, but I don't know, something to think about. We can talk about more during budget talks, and something the council might want to do to encourage that. But it shouldn't be too difficult to come in with the wellness screenings.
Well, kudos to the police department for holding up for holding up the city of West Burlington. And does it seem to be,
I push it very hard on my guys to participate, so.
oh, you need them in good physical shape to chase these burglars down and stuff.
Right.
Ringo,
Officer Ringo Goldberg, I've been with the department shy of 18 years, and I'm 60 years old. There's a couple of things.
And the reason I say it, I just been involved in physical activity my entire life, and it's important. And you can tell, as Chief Logan said, he does push it, and he leads by example on it, which is really good, so it stimulates all the other guys to do that. A couple things that Tara did not touch about. I've had 2 serious injuries in the last few years. The last one last year was at Twin Rotary Cup. As soon as that happened, it was an injury on duty. I contacted Tara. She set up a program for me that I could continue working because my surgery wasn't set up till August to have the surgery done. And I think a lot of it because the surgery went well, and I was able to get back in actually in uniform on full duty 2 months before schedule. Normally it's a 6 months recovery, and I was back in 4 months. And of course, being we were short people, so it was important to get back on duty. Those are things you can't measure. You cannot measure that in money or anything like that. But the officer was able to get back in the department working, and so that saves time and stuff like that. Again, Tara, and then a previous incident, I had a torn meniscus, and again, Tara helped me out, getting things prepared, and was able to get back several weeks earlier again. So there's things that she didn't talk about that that you need to look at too. I support the program. I think it's important, and I think you have less injuries. You have less illness. I don't know what our sick days are, but Chief Logan probably knows, and it's not that much for our department. And I think a lot of it's because the guys stay in shape, and Al knows this part is real important. And then the image too, of having officers that are in shape, physically fit, other than just donut rollers and just drinking coffee all the time, which I joke about, but we try to break that stigma. So anyhow, thank you for what I'm talking about.
Thanks, Ringo.
I would reiterate that too. I think what Andy said too, just having the wellness screenings, and we can get extra points by going and having your annual physical, and some of those health screenings count towards your points in here. But I know I found what could have been a very serious health issue early on because I was trying to get my points for my wellness program. So, I mean, you can't really tell exactly how much it saves, but if I had not done that and waited another year or 2 years for more symptoms to start up, it would have been a much more expensive treatment, I'm sure.
but how do we get the other employees? Because it always seems just like the same handful of administrative employees and my police department, but what about Mike's public works guys?
They had been active in it. I mean, it's not like they've never been active in it. There was a time when the public works was more active than the police department.
With COVID, it's made a big difference, like I said, with loss and stuff. Honestly, time frames, when she's doing things, work out better for the police department now, where before when we did things in the morning, it was better for my guys at that time. And as much as I got going on, I mean, maybe that's not an excuse, but every time something's going on, I have way too much going on in my job to even sit down and take time to go do that walks. Way too much going on.
I think part of Public Works this year was, we had several guys all in new positions, learning new positions, so it's a little bit harder this year. So perhaps next year, if people settle into their roles a little bit, they can free some time up to at least get their wellness screenings and maybe participate in a few things. But like I said, we can work on that, talk about ways to do that.
I feel like they have been, at least some of them, participating every year, and maybe not this last year, but prior to that, there's always been public works guys in it.
We did,
Personally have, issues that I'm not discussing that Tara is aware of, is why I kind of step back from it. I'm trying to fix some issues medically with myself, is why I
Well, the wellness screening, it does pay, it makes a big difference, because you'd rather know ahead of time than after you're out in ICU and like, oh, yeah. So, I don't know, Dan, figure out a way to encourage our employees to at least do the wellness screen.
Yeah, well, that shouldn't take too much time, that's only, you know, one day a
And they
year,
come
so-
here, you come here, right?
I come here.
Yeah, that's just one day here, yeah, it takes 10 minutes, it's not, now she pokes you.
Oh, I could do that for you. I'll help with that.
But better yet, to try to encourage them to take part in the whole program. Maybe we need to be more encouraging somehow.
We can definitely, if it comes down to it, maybe we are trying to get some of our other employees engaged who maybe have never gotten engaged with it. Maybe we do kind of rework the reward system. So on the very last page, this is what the proposal would be for 2021, but we could easily rework the awards that maybe they get a small little reward just by doing the screening and a couple of like preventative exams and things like that that might just boost the motivation. And when you boost it a little bit, sometimes it kind of sparks that drive to go a little bit further. So that very well could be something that we build in there to help those maybe see what they're missing out on.
Back years ago when this all started, comments were made that if everybody got involved, it would possibly lower the premiums. And in that way, and some of them that aren't involved in my department, I'm sure that there was something with insurance premiums. They would get involved if there was some kind of incentive that way of what we're paying for premiums.
Yeah, there are some companies that actually do that, that might give you a little bit of kickback per month if you participated, you know, for the year or whatever. Some companies do that. I know some companies have insurance companies that if you are negative, like on nicotine screening, it's another actual kickback. Like Weingard, for example, is one of those companies that offer a discount on their premium if you are nicotine free. So I know we don't do nicotine testing here at this company, but it is something we could always do if that's something, you know, you're looking for, or even affidavits for that matter. So I think that might be a good question for council to look at, the insurance and what can we do to maybe make it more beneficial based on the current wellness programs that we have offered.
Well, I think since we've had the program, we have seen a benefit with our insurance. You get a lot of feedback, right? And it's not, you know, overall it's helped the city keep the costs down, which, you know, the employees' cost is being kept down there too. So,
And in
and it's
reality-
not if I join the program, I'm gonna see a 10%
Yes.
cost reduction in my premiums.
And you're absolutely right. But also the reality is you have a group of employees that are probably going to retire in the next couple of years. And those employees are the ones we really need to keep healthy, because unfortunately you see a lot of illness and disease setting in the older ages. And those are the ones that are going to increase your healthcare costs from your insurance.
So the cost for this next year is going to be $2,945.
Based on 12 employees.
Based on 12. So if you get 13 or 14, it'll go up by what, $110?
So if you look at it'll be based on the wellness screenings.
Okay.
So if we have a new employee, we're charging $110 for 2 wellness screenings, because I need something in the beginning of their program to compare to at the end of the program. And then after that, it becomes just $70 every year, because they've already had that prior wellness screening. So it'll probably go up by about 110, because a lot of them will need 2 screenings.
I'll motion to approve the renewal.
Support. Motion with support. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Knightmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Sarah.
much. Merry Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you. Item number 4 is to consider approving a pre-engineering expense for the Rice Grant application. Dan?
First I gotta say, I sent this email out earlier, I said that this money would be reimbursable with the grant. I found out that isn't. But that would be a TIF eligible expense because it's an economic development deal, so paying for that up to 17,000 isn't, we have the money to pay for that, so that's not a big deal. Like I said, this is a opportunity to take a vacant building and put 25 jobs in there up at certain, Jeremy's here, he can explain a little bit better on exactly what's going on here, but I'm just looking to get enough engineering done to file this grant with the DOT.
Well, give us a little history, probably, you're gonna go through the history of the location and all this.
Everybody look at it, kind of, I'll refer to it as we visit a little bit.
Thank you.
I'm used to it.
See the plan?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Mike's here also.
Thank you.
From regional planning.
Take this off. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeremy Hess with the Greater Burlington Partnership, Director of Economic Development. And so just want to visit a little bit with you tonight about what we've dreamed about and what we hope for at the former Raider building out in your community. And so in March of 2020, we were contacted by a company from California, Mr. Jeff Chudai, and the company's name is Deep Root Irrigation. They had done a search for 16 different communities, found us through our website. We have a regional website together with our neighboring counties specifically for business attraction, and this was one of our featured sites. As you may or may not know, the Raider building was at one point going to be repurposed for the purpose of the soccer complex, and apparently they found those big pylons in the middle of the building weren't great for soccer, so we put up a great bubble out in the business park, and that's all gone very well. But we purchased the building. Our Grow Greater Burlington, our organization has purchased the building, and because that's our mission, to see economic development happen and find ways to get activity into buildings and so forth. So anyway, we've been marketing that building for a couple of years. Jeff Chudai with Deep Root Irrigation contacted us. They've been to our community twice in the midst of this pandemic. They are from Napa Valley, California, out in wine country. They have a patented product that essentially many of these orchards and vineyards, and whether they're growing grapes or nuts or whatever, they have these drip lines to irrigate their product, and that water just runs on the surface and waters the plant. They have a patented product that hooks on to the existing drip line that is already there. They shove a rod down in the ground, put their product down into the ground, and it takes the water directly to the root ball of the plant. Most of the vineyards that have employed their product have seen water usage reduction by up to 50 to 75%. They don't have to run their motors so long. It's an amazing product. I've watched all their videos. I've drank the Kool-Aid. It's really, really cool. It's really taken off, and it's a patented product. They're also in negotiations with the USDA to deploy this. They already ship it all over the world. After a couple of visits, Jeff and his family have decided that they want to make West Burlington, Iowa, their global headquarters for Deep Root Irrigation. They have both, there's 3 families, Jeff, his son, and a brother-in-law that are owners in the company, part owners, and they have all purchased homes in our area. They're moving to our community at the end of this year. And they want to make the Raider building their headquarters. Been a hard year for them. They really anticipated millions of orders and we're really gearing up for this big building. But they have had fires Jeff has had weeks where he's been evacuated from his house out there in California. Every time he comes here, he has to quarantine for 14 days when he goes back home, and there's been a lot of challenges, but they're still fully committed to coming and moving ahead with this building. And so that's great news. They're talking about 25 to 30 jobs over the course of 24 months. It's really not manufacturing in a sense, it's more assembly. So most of their product comes from different suppliers, and then they put them together and ship them out. That is the kind of the base or the start that we needed to see what we'd all dreamed of as far as this West Burlington Industrial Park take place. And so Mike's here to talk a little bit about, or back me up with this immediate need RISE grant and all the work that needs to go into that. I've given you this little drawing here tonight of what we're proposing. There's some of these lines are in pencil, if you will. You might ask, are these guys really coming? And I know they are. In 2020, I've learned to not say there's nothing that can go wrong. But we have just recently finished doing the work with Klingner and Associates to final plat the last little bit of road that's leading up to the building and the 7 acres. We spent roughly $7,000 to kind of get that done with the anticipation that we would have a piece of property to actually transfer to this company. And so we're super excited. We're glad to see some progress out here. We've had a lot of work go into clearing concrete and crunching concrete and getting old pieces of concrete out of there. If you haven't been there lately, it looks a whole lot different than what it did a year and a half, 2 years ago. So that's what I can share with you about deep root irrigation, and we just hope to see multiple of these sites. I will tell you, if you look up if you're holding it this way, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a 4.3 acre parcel. We are in, that's currently not owned by Grow Greater Burlington. That's owned by Southeast Iowa Regional Planning, but because it is probably more developable than some of the other pieces on here, we are looking to do a land swap with Southeast Iowa Regional Planning for the 4.1 acres that's basically right next to the pond. They've got some plans for that, and ultimately taking a rough piece of ground, getting jobs coming in here, and seeing this developed would be a great thing. And that road would just really spur this on. So Jeff, the owner of Deep Root Irrigation, has been a great partner already with conversations with SCC to work with their ag department to put some test plots out there. They anticipate seeing folks from all over the globe come to our community to see the product demonstrated, to watch the manufacturing of it and so forth. Just a pretty exciting picture. We've got a ways to go, but glad to see something moving into the concrete bunker. Mike, anything to add? I don't really know very much about the timing of the RISE grant and how all that works, and so if there's any questions specific to that, I would defer to Mike.
Sure. Evening, Mike Norris, Executive Director, Southeast Iowa Regional Planning. Nice to see everybody tonight. It's been a real pleasure working with Jeremy on this project. We've had several really excellent and positive visits, and we're just happy to support Grow Greater Burlington and be, a partner in what they're doing to try to help attract and grow businesses here. So the RISE grant is a fairly standard grant we use in Southeast Iowa to help leverage expanding and incoming jobs to get infrastructure put in place. And I think it's clear with the industrial park, for it to realize the full potential, we got to have a road, and we have some jobs coming in. So this is really the time to look at developing what that road is going to look like and how we can cultivate a grant proposal to bring outside dollars in to benefit the projects and the community. So to do that, as Dan talked about, we need to have preliminary engineering information in order to apply. And there's two different tracks of the RISE program. And so as things kind of develop and become clear out of the engineering, and we'll have to look at what track might make the best sense to best leverage the money from DOT to put towards the road. So the engineering is kind of the company is the first part. Engineering is number 2. And then number 3 would come back to the council and say, this is kind of what everything looks like. And then ultimately, before application, there's a resolution of support after you guys see the entire thing to ultimately apply to Iowa DOT. Lots of RISE grants around. One of the most notable ones we worked on was for Iowa Fertilizer to do the J50 County Road extension to service that plant so that they could actually use the interchange and not the at-grade intersection that adds a lot of safety to Highway 61. So not really that complicated of a grant. It's more about managing the timing of everything, and we're happy to help work on it.
I think one thing that probably needs to be mentioned is that that road is needed to serve that building, because right now it's a private road. Right?
Correct. It is a private road.
Once this gets all done, it becomes a public road.
Correct. Yep. That's the trade-off with the grant, is that DOT helps fund it, but then it becomes a public road that the city needs to maintain to the public standard.
Where are we at in terms of the agreement of them actually purchasing the building?
They are currently in conversations with a local bank, and they're actually pursuing additional help, possibly through Southeast Iowa Regional Planning and the Revolving Loan Fund. Those negotiations they're in those conversations now. That's probably the best picture I can give you. That they have not signed a purchase agreement as of yet.
You want to mention how much money is available for the loan? If they come to regional planning for a loan?
Yeah, we have several revolving loan fund pools. Since '94, we've helped businesses create or retain about 2,200 jobs with the gap financing we have. Recently, we were allocated some loan authority with CARES Act funds through Economic Development Administration, through which we have 2 other pools. And we have $1.5 million to lend to that, up to $375 for one project, and then we have other funds available at this time. So, so I've talked to Mr. Shudai about this, and he thinks it could be a benefit. So they're kind of working out with the bank to where we could potentially complement their project, to come into it. And so there's a couple balls up in the air here, but that's when we kind of want to get things at the ready, so that we can hit the ground running when they sign on the dotted line, so that we can look to leverage funds for the infrastructure.
And in another comment, we've also put forward a lease agreement to that company in case financing is a difficulty for them. I don't anticipate that, but our organization is, look, we're fully committed, and Jeff is committed to the building. We're committed to him to see this through, and we'd all love for him to come in with bags of money and just pull the trigger and get it done. But we're willing to do the hard road to get him in there. So that's our position.
And what's your plan on the timing of the funds from us? Are you going to move forward as if we're hoping that they go ahead with the purchase, and so we start the engineering now, or do you hold off on the engineering and using that $17,000 until after a signed purchase agreement and loan commitment? What's the plan?
So, you know, there's different ways to look at it. Part of it's preference. You know, one way to look at it is that there are, you know, very developable lots there that will be a lot more attractive to develop if there is a road there. So that's kind of the argument to say, well, it needs to be done anyway, so why not start now? We've got, you know, the bird almost in the hand, you know, to leverage the grant. The other side is that, well, they're not quite there yet. We could, you know, hold off until they sign on the dotted line, you know, and then start. And so part of his preferences, there's kind of pros and cons, you know, to each one.
Well, part of that's they can't really close on the property because our code says that in order to do a subdivision, you have to be on a public street. So we kind of need to get started before they can get going very far.
And there's that argument too.
So my thought was to get started. Now, the money won't be due until Klinger actually does some work out there. So we're talking, there won't be any money coming out of our bank account for a while yet. But even if you approve it tonight, it'll be a while before we have a payment due to them. And we'll also know a more firm price once we get an engineering services agreement. But this at least gets them started, do enough work that they can anticipate putting enough together to get the engineering services agreement with a more accurate cost to it. Just by you saying go ahead tonight.
Well, I'm very much in favor of developing that area, and I've had the opportunity to actually meet these folks several times, as I know that the mayor met with them as well, and I think they do intend to come here, but I know I would like to see at least a signed purchase agreement with some money in escrow, so there's some skin on the line before we move forward, would be my preference. So at least there's the intent of a deal on paper, where right now it seems like, you know, this is all just hoping and wishing at the moment, but I'd like to see something signed and have some money in it.
Have they already bought 3 homes here? This family?
I know that there's been one home that's closed, 2 homes that have had purchase an acceptance of an offer. And I know that Jeff Judi's son is moving forward with the purchase of a building downtown Burlington. And I too would like to have that purchase being signed.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that, because that.
Yeah, and they know we have a pretty high deadline in March 31st.
Okay.
Before they could even go through with the purchase or a subdivision plat would have to be completed and recorded to even have anything to transfer.
So the work that we're putting forward with Klinger and Associate now with the Coachman Road and the 7 acres, that's not enough to transfer to?
That is, but you'd have to have that recorded, that subdivision recorded.
We have
in
to,
order to-
I think they get our planning and zoning commission's gonna need some assurance that there's a public road going in before they will allow that. So, we need to start making progress on getting a road built.
Yeah.
And to that point, our organization has gone and risked not a lot of dollars, about $7,000 to move forward with that in confidence that they are actually moving forward.
It seems early to me. It seems like the appropriate time would be, you know, maybe even before a final loan commitment, but at least we've got a signed purchase agreement with some money in escrow.
Either way, though, that road's gonna have to be built. Whether they come or not, eventually that road's gonna have to be put in order to develop that ground any further. So,
I think,
might as well get the ball rolling now.
Dane, did you say that road's gonna have to be constructed in order for them to get any type of financing for that? Is that what you were
No.
saying?
No, although like I said, they have to, I think planning and zoning might approve a subdivision if they're pretty confident in the road's going in, but technically our code says that there has to be a public road there before a subdivision gets finalized.
Okay. That's where my mind was going.
Yes.
Every lot has to have access to a public roadway. But I think this area has been for sale for a long time as one huge lot. I only see breaking it up being more beneficial to marketing it.
I guess the worst thing that could happen is if we do this preliminary work to get a RISE grant filed, we'll still have that work for the next sale and the next RISE grant. We won't have to spend it again. We'll have what we need to apply for a RISE grant in the future even. It's not a one-time thing, it is a one-time thing on designing this road. To prepare a grant application, you'd have a grant application ready, even if in an unlikely event this would fall apart, our money wouldn't be wasted.
It's just to ask it pointedly one more time, is there a reason to do it today instead of waiting until we have a signed purchase agreement?
I guess in my experience, the better side to be on would be the prepared side. You know, I think the longer that you might wait on engineering, it just, you know, pushes a lot of things down the pike. It delays the time that we could, you know, respond to write the grant. So I think, you know, this is a great area to develop, and from my perspective and experience, I think being prepared is the better way to go. And I don't think it'll be money misspent.
We have engineers in the room. Is there what's a time frame on something like this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Claiming off.
Here, take a look at this picture.
Yeah. Don't expect that, but you know, when we bring you a normal street project, what's our time frame on something like that? Are we, you know, is that a 6-month thing to get it done? Because it doesn't seem like that typically.
I mean, it depends how long it takes, how long the project is. I'm not sure what requirements.
This isn't, we're not designing the street here, we're just doing enough preliminary work to be able to tell the DOT what's gonna happen.
Yep.
Which is a lot less engineering than designing a street.
This is so that the DOT will give us money to put this street in. Says grant, right?
And then the grant will pay for the rest of the design, but this is just, get enough information. The DOT wants a lot of information before they hand over their money, and this is to put enough engineering information together to even apply for the grant. And so that application takes time, this design's gonna take some time, and the application is gonna take some time, and the DOT is gonna take a little bit of time to turn it around. So the further we push that back, the further everything gets pushed back.
Well, with doing it now, we're showing the community that we're interested bringing jobs now, getting a head start instead of putting it off the way I look at it. You know, it's showing the interest that we have as a council of bringing new jobs to us.
Our organization's kind of in a similar situation where, you know, I know that I want to have everything recorded, so we've had cleaner out there and doing survey work and so forth, and we've put some money at risk, I said about $7,000 to get kind of ready in the anticipation, knowing that when he says he's ready to go, I'm ready to go. And we can make that transaction, and we can move forward, and we can meet our deadlines. If I wait for that and put it off because I'm not quite sure if he's really coming, and he says, let's go, I know it's gonna be 3 months before I can even move forward with closing. And I also know that if on the outside that he doesn't come or changes his mind on that particular building, at least I've done the work, knowing I'm gonna have to do that work for the next guy that comes along. So that's kind of what we're doing on this. breakdown, there's about 25 to 30 positions in the first 2 years, and they've already supplied information to the state of Iowa, the IEDA, for targeted jobs application, and that has been preliminary accepted, but 20 of those jobs will be above the county threshold at $21.61 an hour. And so Jeff, they're a good company, they want to pay people well and be responsible, so this is not a guy that's going to fill his place with $9 an hour jobs. They're going to do good jobs.
I guess that's another thing that just come to my mind is, we've done economic development things before where companies have come to us and asked for money to bring the jobs in. He's not asking for that money, he's asking to get a road built, which is still money, but it's not paying cash per job like we do, like we've done several times. They aren't asking for that kind of help, which is kind of refreshing, actually.
And don't misunderstand me. I want to do this. I just, in my world, I don't understand the hesitation to move forward with a purchase, intent to purchase and get a signed offer and start down that road, even if you're still working on financing. So to me, that's ringing alarm bells to me in my world, going, well, that should be done before we're talking about this.
Well,
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this pre-engineering expense. I think the Raider property has sat vacant for so long, and it's time to get off our duff, and hopefully 2021 will bring a better outlook for our future, and I think we probably need just to get our foot in the door and get it moving.
Support.
motion with support. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Nay.
Knightmeyer,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Jeremy. And Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5 is to consider renewal of property and casualty insurance for 2021, and Cody is here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. For those of you that are new to the council, Andy, obviously I know, Kathy. My name is Cody Van Fleet, and
Nice
I
to
am
meet
the
you.
insurance agent for Two Rivers Insurance Services. We have been the insurance agency representing the city of West Burlington for many years. And so what I am coming here tonight is with the proposal that I gave to Dan and Leslie last week and to Mayor Trelzel for the renewal of the commercial package policy for the city of West Burlington. So what this is your property coverage, your general liability coverage, your everything that comes into a commercial policy except for the workers' compensation, which renews in July. I believe you've all received a packet of our proposal, plus a letter that I always like to give out to the council members each year that kind of details what's going on overall with the policy itself. This year, the commercial package policy saw a 9.7% increase that was driven primarily due to the property and the auto. We have seen some pretty high increases across the state of Iowa this year in many different areas. But the three areas that we've seen the biggest increases, first is in the property. And I'm talking generally across the state of Iowa, not just with West Burlington. We've seen major increases in the property due to a very high claim year. Obviously, as you know, the derecho did over $7.5 billion in damage to the state of Iowa. Many of the cities that are in the central part of the state, from Des Moines to Dubuque on that I-80 corridor, saw some really, really bad claims. In the carriers that every carrier in the state of Iowa was affected considerably. The second thing that we are seeing is auto rates are increasing steadily each year, this year more than others. The reason for that is auto claims are going up. the amount of claims, cars are safer. We're seeing less claims as a whole, but there is no such thing as a $900 fender bender anymore. A new fender now isn't just a new fender. It is a fender, and it's also a calibration of the sensors that are in that bumper, as well as the cameras that go into the vehicles now.
1965 Ford Mustang.
Yeah. General liability, we saw a slight increase this year across the board in the state of Iowa, and that's due to litigation claims are up. Legal fees are up, and more people are suing. So in that regard, we have seen for all of our clients an average of about 8 to 12%, so about that 10% range. So we feel like the increase of 9.7% matches what we are seeing from other carriers. And to be honest, for most of the cities across the state of Iowa, they are seeing in the central part of the state about a 15 to 20% increase. So you guys are a little under average. Some things of note. While you did see a 9.7% increase, we increased some property limits this year to some of the properties. This building here, for instance, any of you that's done a construction project in the last year that would know that the price of lumber has really gone up in the state of Iowa. And so each year, your policy has something called an inflation guard, where it will automatically increase your property values by 4%. However, every 3 to 5 years, your insurance carrier will look at your larger buildings, this one being one of them, and we will do a cost estimator. Square footage, number of bathrooms, certain items that are in this building, and they try to evaluate, is that cost accurate? And we had a few buildings this year that we thought the inflation guard wasn't keeping up with market trends. So we did some slight increases. While the policy went up 9.7%, I am happy to report that the fire policy, what we call the fire pack, which is a separate part of your insurance package policy, did stay flat. So that's good. And we are, while we have not seen the numbers yet for July 1st, we are expecting your work comp premiums to decrease. Your work comp premiums are based on a 3-year, 36-month running total that will go from 4 years ago to a year out. So there's always a year buffer. But there was a very substantial claim that the city had on their work comp policy 4 years ago that will be coming off of your loss ratio. That will hopefully help those work comp rates reduce in July of 2021. So we think as a whole, we should be in good shape for the upcoming year. With that being said, does anyone have any questions in regards to the proposal that I have put forward this week?
Any questions? Nobody has any, Cody.
That's good.
I'll have to entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Support.
There's a motion of support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Heitmeyer,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you.
Item number 6 is to consider a resolution authorizing and approving a loan and disbursement agreement and providing for the issuance and securing the payment of $5,977,000 in water revenue bonds, Series 2021.
Motion, please.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Hightmeyer,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Motion carried. There's nothing else in there that we gotta vote on, right, Kelly?
No, that's just, it,
Just
the resolution will authorize
certificate
you to
is-
sign all those
yeah,
documents.
Okay. I didn't wanna skip another resolution if I didn't have to. Item number 7 is to consider payment to the city of Burlington for work completed on the West Avenue and Gear Avenue Dial Bar retrofit project in the amount of $135,067.85.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
What a nice road that is now. Lovely.
Roll call.
Hightmeyer,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 8 is consider change order number 1, pay estimate number 3 from Norris Asphalt for the Houston Street project. The change order is in the amount of $9,147.58, and the pay request is in the amount of $58,925.53.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Hightmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is consider payment to Snyder and Associates for engineering services related to the following project. The Water Tower and Booster Station Project, $1,962. Gear Avenue Trail Project, $3,605.98. And the South Lift Station Project, $10,539.53.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Hightmeyer.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 10 is consider a resolution setting a public hearing to discuss the status of funding for the community health centers of southeastern Iowa, the infectious disease mitigation project for January 6th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Christie,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Hightmeyer.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 11 is to consider purchase of 3 rifles for the police department in the amount of $5,066.10.
So move.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
Jesse, I just have a question, because it says here, it says unlike shotguns, rifles are set up for the individual officer. So if we set one up for an officer and he leaves, is that rifle able to be reset?
Yeah, we can reuse it, it's just the way the stock and everything is, they're just adjustable stocks, and the scope's adjustable, so we just, whenever they go re-qualify with Sean, they would just reset it for that officer. It's just
Okay.
a lot.
And we,
I think if anybody used mine, they'd have to get a longer stock.
we did have money budgeted for this. I remember, okay.
Roll call.
Crowner.
Aye.
Hightmeyer.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 12 is consider first reading of an ordinance amending the water rates. And those rates would be changed. The monthly distribution charge of $24.25 per meter stays the same. The first 3,000 gallons would be no charge with the payment of monthly distribution charge. 3,001 to a million gallons would go from $8.40 per 1,000 gallons to $9.74 per 1,000. 1,001 to 1,005 gallons would go from $6.14 to $7.48 per 1,000. And 1,500,001 and above would go from $4.19 to $5.53 per 1,000. And this would take effect on the first billing in February. this would raise the necessary 10% of the almost 38 or 40% that we need to cover the bonds.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion of support. Any discussion?
Dan, I just had one question on the memo that was with it. It says the 3,000 gallon user would see a $0 increase, but that's not quite true, right? Because the monthly distribution goes up?
No, the monthly distribution
stays.
is not going up.
It stays the same.
Okay. That's, I had our rate at that at $22 and something. I'll have to go back and look at that again. Okay. Well, I like that the lower end user is not getting as large of an increase. Even if they're a 5,000 gallon user, they're not seeing that first 3,000 gallons go up. So, thank you very much for putting that together. I think that's a good way to do it.
Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Hightmeyer,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 13 is to consider purchase of Microsoft 365 subscription for the police department. That would be a 15-user license and $3,600.
Alrighty, we're currently on Office 2007, and we need to upgrade to the newer Office right now. I'm looking at getting the E3 as a trial, because I'd like to actually take the whole city to this when we have to replace the Exchange server and run them on a hybrid. This would allow us to not have to replace the software for the Exchange server, and also with the E3 package, it includes the stuff that would get rid of Barracuda. I haven't done an ROI figure on it yet, but I would have that before I present the complete thing to you guys at the end. This is what county's doing. They've done it for years now. I just didn't see a cost saving since we already bought the server and stuff back in 2013 to be able to go to this.
And that was plain English, right?
Yes.
Now tell me what you said.
Brad, can you walk us through the budget side of it? You say it's already budgeted in line item, but we didn't discuss this last year.
It was in Jesse's memo, or not memo, it's was in his budget. Yeah, under computer operations. We didn't discuss it specifically.
Yeah.
I wasn't with him that day that he presented his budget, so I guess I don't know what went on that day, but I know he had it in his sheet that he turned in.
So what's the new upgrade? What's it called? If it's not 2007?
No, this is Office 365. I think they're on
365.
2019 now, but Office 365, you wouldn't have to upgrade again. You'd always be on the latest.
You just never stop paying for it.
Yeah, it's a subscription based instead of buying a software license, is what it amounts to.
Have your officers tried it out, Jess, or we haven't gotten it yet?
We haven't gotten it yet.
So how come you need 15?
15, I'm not gonna buy the 15 users now. I'm asking for the 15 users for when he hires reserves, if he hires reserves. He's max full at 15, and so that's why we requested 15 licenses, so I didn't have to come back here if we got one, but, you plan on getting some more reserves right here shortly, and that's why I included them in there.
But you only get what you need right now,
Yeah.
so up to 15.
And this is also more of my big goal of to get the public-facing servers away from us, to kind of take our surface area and reduce it for security reasons.
Motion approved.
Support. Motion with support. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Pipemeyer,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Waterman,
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 14 is consider entering into an agreement with Great River Housing, Inc. to fund a residential rehab program, and Mike is here. Let me say something first. We did this several years ago. We did numerous houses here in town, up to $29,000, I believe it was, 24 from
Yeah, that was
Great
through,
River Housing and 5 from the city.
Yep.
And it's using the LMI dollars. And how much LMI dollars do we have, Leslie?
Like $100,000.
So the money is there to do a program like this again, and there's probably several homes in the community that needs done. One of them that just got done, if anybody wants to check it out, is across the alley, Joni's, Mark Hagerly's stepdaughter. And they did a great job on that. So with that being said, I'll let you explain the program a little further.
Okay, well, glad to be here again. This is just kind of a continuation of a discussion we had earlier this year, and at that time it kind of came up in conversation that maybe we should talk about a rehab, see what that looks like. So coming back around to that, and in the memo I gave Dan, just gives you a little bit of background about Great River Housing Trust Fund. It's a 501c3 that regional planning started about 12 years ago. We've been in operation now for a while. We're one of 27 certified local housing trust funds in Iowa. And we use that status to apply for and receive grants from the Iowa Finance Authority from the State Housing Trust Fund. And we match that with local dollars, and then we do projects for income qualified individuals in our 4-county area. So the things we do are down payment assistance, we do owner-occupied rehabilitation, we have an upper story program, and then we also do some neighborhood development where we assist nonprofits that are doing infill development projects, single-family projects like Habitat for Humanity. Housing Inc. has done several of these projects. Oakville Development Group in Louisa County. And we've also done a couple of, or at least one new construction finance here in West Burlington that was income qualified. So it's a great organization. It's probably one of the most flexible things we have with housing because we can we can do so many different things. So so the proposal summary is Great River Housing could match West Burlington TIF dollars on a 1-to-1 basis up to $15,000. So that would create a $30,000 program at the full match. And beginning in July of 21, we would go looking for projects. And I think we've actually have a waiting list now of people that have already contacted us for rehab. We've just completed a project here across the alley, then over on West Burlington Avenue as well. So we have been doing some activity here in West Burlington. I just went ahead and tried to do some advancement of thought here to look at an exterior only rehab program so you can really see the results of the program. That would include roof siding. Siding would include siding soffit fascia gutters, windows, entry doors, porches, and that probably about covers the exterior. So I think we'd shoot for 3 on the exteriors, depending on the house and the bid scope. Sometimes you can cover a few windows and maybe a partial roof repair for $10,000, or maybe it's just limited to a small roof repair for $10,000. It's hard to shove a lot of things into that work scope and get it $10,000. So that's why I say at least 2, if not more than that. Obviously, trying to maximize the funding. So on the income qualification, I provided some income details. These would be focused on persons or families at 30% of the area median income, and I've listed those out for household size in the memo. And we would income qualify each person to make sure that they're eligible, and we have to do that for State Housing Trust Fund anyway, and keep all that documentation. The type of assistance would be in the form, sorry, it's odd hearing the echo in the hallway. It would be in the form of a 5-year forgivable loan, and it's forgivable if they live in the house for 5 years after we've done the assistance. If not, there could be a partial clawback on that. The bidding process, we put everything out to bid. We have a list of registered contractors that bid on our projects, and so what we do is we visit the site, we take the photos, we visit with the homeowners to hear about what they think is a priority for the house. We put together a bid scope, run that past the homeowner, put it out for bid, award the bid, complete the project, close the project, and then move on to the next. So we try to keep it simple for the homeowners. We try to be, of course, extremely respectful. It's a very personal thing to be working on somebody's house. And we also, of course, work closely with our contractors to make sure that we're doing the scope of work, but also if you find anything else that maybe we can't tell with the initial scope, that we're trying to problem solve so that we're not leaving an issue that we found while doing the work. Happy to try to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Will these contractors be bonded?
We require proof of insurance from them. They're registered with the state of Iowa Workforce Development. And part of the closeout procedure is there's any material warranties are transferred to the homeowner, and then there's also a 1-year guarantee on the workmanship as well.
Yeah, I don't think in all the years we've ever had any problems with contractors as far as, you know, we've had some homeowners that were awful, you know, in my opinion, overly nitpicky, because they ended up getting, you know, basically work done for little of nothing. They had no skin in the game, but they nevertheless, some of them did a lot, some complaining, not a lot.
I would say by and large, you've got really positive outcomes. You know, I would say the vast majority of our clients are very, you know, very grateful for the assistance and very, you know, accommodating. I think our contractors, you know, go above and beyond almost every time on the projects to do maybe a little bit extra. So we've had a good run here. We've had a lot of projects in all 4 counties, and we're looking forward to do more.
Well, I think the time is right, because there's people that doesn't have money to fix up their houses, and we have hungry contractors that are anxious to work, and I think it'll be a good win for our community, because we've done it before in the past, and I've heard nothing but good remarks in our community, and I've heard horror stories in other communities, so it's like, ooh, well, we must be lucky.
Would we be updated during the year about the progress?
Sure, yeah, yep. So what we usually do for the Housing Trust Fund Board is we do updates and we show the befores and afters. Yeah, it's just a great deal, so.
I'd be happy to show them to you once they start doing stuff in town. We haven't had any. We've had this one here.
Yeah, we're just finishing up the one on West Burlington Avenue.
Which one's that?
I don't remember the address. I want to say it's 200 block.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So.
Mike, thank you very much. This is perfect. This is exactly what we asked for. I think it's a great use of those funds. I think it helps our current citizens. with issues that they can't afford themselves. And I think also having it be exterior projects helps raise the property values all around that as well. So thank you very much. This is exactly what we asked for.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree. This is what we had in mind.
Now, I see that we could purchase a furnace for, if needed.
You know, that's one of the benefits of the Housing Trust Fund program. You know, as part of being a part of the Certified Local Housing Trust Fund program, we have a housing assistance plan that we develop with our board and then, you know, have to give to the state. And that's kind of our, you know, our plan of assistance to be within so that we can explain, you know, what it is we're doing and how we're doing it. And so that's where the flexibility comes in. So we have done, you know, furnaces and water heaters. You know, a lot of people know about Community Action's weatherization program. So we try to work really closely with them so we're not duplicating. And oftentimes we can kind of work hand in hand with them to have a bigger impact. And one thing to keep in mind too, it is about the current homeowner, but it's also about the homeowner in later years that will buy that house. And so that benefit kind of carries on. And I think it also, you know, helps the neighborhood as well. So, you know, we have done furnaces, water heaters, electrical safety upgrades. We've done a whole ton of hardwired smoke detectors. When we're out on inspections, it is constantly surprising how many people don't have working smoke detectors. So when I go out, I'll usually carry a couple of spare batteries and just pop them in if we have a chance. So it is a great program, and it's you know, it's really helps out a lot of people, but stabilized a lot of properties too, which is really important for our communities.
I make a motion we enter into an agreement with Great River Housing to fund our residential rehab program.
Support. Okay, motion with support. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Waitmeyer,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience,
Pleasure.
Mike. I'll be out in the morning. Oh, hey, do you want to do something in case I forget? Take that flashing sign with you
Put it in Jared's office.
and put it in Jared's office,
Speed sign, yeah.
the speed sign.
I think he needs to cord with it too, because I don't know if it's charged up, but
If not, I can bring it in the morning.
he would slip in when nobody's there to take care of, download that data for me, so, since he's been working from home. Put it in the trash. Thanks again.
All right, thank you, Mike. Anybody have any old business? Anyone wishing to address the council on matters we did discuss or didn't discuss? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting